All right. Dani.
Yeah.
Dani, where'd you grow up? Where are you from originally?
I was born in Oceanside, and then we lived in Poway, and then we moved up to Salinas, and then Sunnyvale, and then back down to Lakewood. And then we moved to Colorado when I was 14.
You had mom and dad growing up?
I was adopted when I was 6 months. Well, I was 6 months old when they found the family that adopted me. And they are horrible people.
What was going on in your childhood?
Well, so I don't know the full story, but I know that my dad was like dishonorably discharged. He was a commanding officer. He was decoding the Morse code that the Chinese were doing in the late 70s, I believe. Maybe it was the 60s. I don't remember which one. But yeah, he got demoted and then forced retired. And then he opened a school with my mom, and then that got shut down. And I'm pretty sure that he was touching me and my sister when we were kids, but she's their only daughter. I was the adopted one, but there's like 2 years of my life where I had a nightmare, knocked on my dad's door, and he opened the door and he had no clothes on. And then I have no memories for about 2 years after that. And they wanted a boy, so they basically, I mean, I knew how to have sex by the time I was 3, but I didn't know how to tie my shoes until I was 7. But yeah, so like I don't have any memories for 2 years after that. He opened the door like that. And on the level that they were abusive. I mean, emotionally, mentally, but like, I started running away from home when I was 6 because it was just bad. So it was supposed to be an open adoption. And I found my dad when I was 15, but he hung himself when I was 20. And so I didn't really get to know him, and my mom, I never found her. When we moved to Colorado, mom and dad signed me over to DHS custody. So I did 2.5 years in juvie over a $3 box of cough medicine. And then I got out and I got married, and I had my oldest. And his dad moved in, his ex-girlfriend, and said I could come home when she left, and because I was 18 and he's 10 years older than me. And the judge said that she couldn't take my son out of the only home he'd ever been in and give him to me because I was couch surfing at the time. So then it was October the following year, and I tried to kill myself, and so I froze to death, and my best friend found me. And when they got me to the hospital, my core body temperature was 91 degrees. But I would have married Matt if he didn't get hit on his bike in a freak accident. And so he died 9 months after saving my life. And then my dad hung himself. And then it's been like every 6 weeks is the average that someone dies. It's been almost 8 years now, but my son and my goddaughter were 3 weeks apart. And oh my God. I was 27 weeks when I had my son Sam. And the umbilical cord was wrapped around the placenta, and so if he'd lived, he never would have walked. But like, I don't know how to be okay with it or anything because I was his mom and I couldn't save him or fix it. So my husband was the only person that was there for me through all of that. But October 1st was 4 years since Sam passed. And so after my first divorce, I got remarried the following year, and I had my 7-year-old, and he's autistic. And he's just such a sweetheart. And then I have Matthew, my 4-year-old. And he's the one that my parents Because when Sam died, I gave temporary rights to my parents for Matt because I wasn't good for myself and I couldn't. And so they got the son they always wanted. And I got thrown to the curb. And it's like I've been with them my whole life, so they are my family, you know. But I have a very rare neurobiological disorder called reactive attachment disorder. When I was 4 months old, because my mom shot up the whole time she was pregnant with me, and anyway, so when she had me in the hospital, they put me into a foster home, and when my grandma came to get me at 4 months old, I wouldn't even cry anymore. I hadn't been held or fed in so long. So they didn't know what RAD was until about 8 years ago. And if you catch it when the child is still a child, you can fix it, but there isn't any fixing it for me. And my brain hijacks itself when I get stressed out or I just can't handle it. And then I don't remember usually anything that happens, but I destroy everything. Everyone around me that matters to me. And so the left side of my brain has 60% more gray matter than it should. The right side has 20% less.
And this was caused, is it genetic or is it?
It's just from this. I was 4 months old in the foster home. They hadn't changed me or held me or fed me in so long I wouldn't even cry anymore. And so it's from that. But whatever age the child is, when the trauma happens, your brain in so many ways will be stuck at that age. And I was 4 months old, and so it's like, he's the only person that's ever stayed in my life. Everybody else leaves or they're gone. And
You guys have been married for how long? How long have you been married?
4 years in September.
4 years.
But he's been in and out of jail a bunch. And I love him, but I don't know that things are going to work because I don't know. Nothing has gone the way it was supposed to, and he's my best friend, and he's the only person I have. And I didn't want to stay in Colorado, and he just got back out of jail on the 1st of this month, so I went back to Nebraska to go get him.
How long have you guys been out here on Skid Row?
This time just for like almost a week, but we got stuck in Vegas for just over a week, and it's illegal to be out there on the streets or anything, and it was really horrible. And then I have such bad PTSD that I have schizophrenic tendencies when they happen, so I hear and see things that aren't there. But that's because I've been abused. Like, I've been sexually assaulted more times than I've willingly done anything. People just always hurt me, and he's the only person that's ever kept me safe. I'm so sorry.
It's all right. Take your time. Do you want to continue?
Huh?
Do you want to continue or?
Yeah.
Okay. Take your time.
So, when I lost my son, I was 20. Well, I got to the hospital 4 days before, and they do the measurements with the spine and the legs. And so they told me I was only like 3 months old. And if I was having a miscarriage, there was nothing I could do. So I went home, and he was a baby, and I didn't know what to do, and I couldn't fix it. So then I took him to my friend who was going to bury him on his family's farm. And so then this was the first time that me and him had come out to California together. I was staying at my friend's house and I found my son in the freezer because he didn't bury him. So, Patrick, he buried him for me. He was the only person there for me. And so now I've been trying to figure out how I'm supposed to be okay, because it doesn't matter how much time goes by. That was my kid, you know, and so normally I just bottle it all up because it really stresses him out when I cry. And so I appreciate you right now.
You ever get to talk about this?
Huh?
Do you ever get to talk about this with anyone, or?
No, because I started to finally actually deal with things from the last 7 years when I was staying with my grandma. But it's like, there's been so many people that have died and so many things. And then I got sold to the cartel for a $19,000 jet. I was drugged and raped by 9 people for 3 days. I don't have anybody left except for him, and I'm afraid I'm going to lose him too.
You're afraid of what?
That I'm going to lose him just like I've lost everybody else. And so I try and act like I'm fine, but I'm so not fine most of the time. And I just bottle it all up, and I just want to be okay again, you know. I know that we didn't really plan on staying on the streets down here. My little sister, my stepmom, who's married to my dad, I need to go see them. And they're up in Fortuna. I just feel like everything's crumbling all around me and I don't know how to fix it. And it's like, with my disorder, it makes everything impossible. I can't get a normal job. And I don't do new people real well. And it's like, I'm trying to figure out how to have hope for something that they've said there is no hope for. But he gets mad if I bring up my son because of just the way all of it happened, and it messed him up just as bad as it messed me up. But so it's like I just keep it all bottled inside because I can't. And so then I talk about it, and then this happens, and I just.
Where do you guys stay now?
We met this guy named James just up the road, so we've been staying with him, but I feel like we're intruding, and last night I had a panic attack, and I was like hearing voices and seeing people, and it really freaked him out. And so, I don't.
You're staying in a tent?
No, with James at his apartment, just up on Crescent, 7th. But we've been there since we got back to town, you know, and so it's kind of like, I feel like we've overstayed our welcome. And both me and him want to get on our way north. I want to go see my little sister and my nephews. And I don't know. And then the last 6 months, when I was back in Colorado, I left there like a month ago. And, also, I have brain seizures. Sometimes I got hit in the back of the head with a hammer, but I've had a few of those today, so I'm like trying to reel my thoughts back in. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. I just feel like that's the only place me and him can go because nobody supports us being together. And I mean, it's my mom and my little sister, and so I don't know. I just know that I can't do the street thing anymore because it's in a matter of like a week I backslid from somewhat of a normal being able to function to now it's like I just keep falling apart and crying, and then everything's just so messed up.
Dani, are drugs a part of your life?
I was sober until Sam died, and then it's like if I don't get high, I try to kill myself, and so I've woken up in the ICU 28 times, and it's like man, if I don't get high, I can't handle it, and I don't know what to do. I'm so sick of it. I just want a normal life. I want to be sober and happy like I used to be, you know, and now I feel like I just hate who I am because I was his mom and that's my kid, and when you're a parent, you have to take care of your kid. You're supposed to do. And I couldn't fix it, and I couldn't save it. It's like I don't get high every day, you know?
What is your drug that you do use when you do?
Clear usually. Just because.
Which is crystal meth?
Just because for a few minutes, then it doesn't hurt me anymore. Nothing hurts me anymore. It's like I'm 10 feet tall and I don't have to feel any of it. It's like I understand that I don't want to die, and it's just that I don't want to feel this way, but I don't know how to get or what to happen.
Have you been on psych medications before?
Yeah, I have gabapentin and Cyclical, but I need to call my psychiatrist and schedule an appointment again. But I don't know. It's like I take the meds, and then they work for a little while, and then because of my attachment disorder, it's like I wake up one day and everything is so horrible, and then I try to die because and so. So I don't really know if I wanted to stay on the psych meds or not, because usually in the long run they do more damage than good. Is there anything else you wanted to know?
I mean, how old are you?
27.
27. And you've been in this kind of state for how long? Situation?
In this situation?
Like
between here in Colorado and Nebraska, the majority of the last 6 years, I've been like.
What was the best time of your life? Or have you had any?
Every time I think I'm starting to find it or get better, it's like everything comes crashing down again. And I don't even know. It's like, so my disorder with my brain, it's like my brain every day tells me I'm not good enough and that I'm a burden. Everyone's better off without me. And
Does your husband help you when you're having situations that get too rough for you?
he tries, but it's like, I don't know how to explain it other than it's just not him. And he doesn't mean to when it happens. So when we're not on the street, everything's fine. But when we're out here, it's like, I don't even know because it's like his eyes go all dark and he doesn't remember anything when it happens. And like, I don't know. I just want to help him and I want to help me and I want to get better and I don't know how to do it.
Is this the toughest period of your life right now?
Is what?
Has this been the toughest period of your life right now, or you've had a lot of tragedies?
I keep praying to God that something gives or changes because I can't take much more. You know, it's just like. I don't know if there's really ever been. I guess my second husband, we were married for 2 years and we had our own motors. We built custom motorcycles. Riding saved my life and I had my 7-year-old. But when me and his dad split up, he assaulted me and ripped my son out of my arms. And so, because I didn't talk to the cops, I had to go to jail and I lost everything. So I lost my son and then he signed my son over to his parents. And so I lost everything, and then I had to take it to trial because I won, but I haven't seen Jesse since he was 3, and he's 7 now. And my 9-year-old, I haven't seen him since he was 11 months old. So I just want my kids. That would make everything better, I feel like. See, I don't know how much more I can do right now, because there's a very fine line of when I'm safe for myself and I'm starting to go over that edge. Like, it's already been an emotional few days. And I just want to be okay. I don't know how to be okay.
Do the psych medications help you?
For a little while, but then I wake up usually within 6 to 9 months. I wake up and then I can't handle it, so I overdose, and then I end up in the ICU. It's like, I don't know. I hate therapists because they're always like, well, how do you feel about that? Or like, so yeah, I don't, I'm so sorry. I don't mean to fall apart like this.
No, take your time.
Yeah, so I guess the only time I was ever remotely, like, if I had to pick a time, it would have been when I had the motorcycle business.
I'm sorry? I'm sorry, you were saying?
Was there anything else you...
No, I'm sorry, Dylan. I see that you're having a hard time with all of this.
It's been kind of a long few days anyway. But I can't fall apart around him. And I didn't think I was going to fall apart like this.
Is your state always somewhat like this, or is this a bad moment for you?
Is what?
Is this a particularly bad time right now for you, or are you always kind of in this state like this?
The first of this month was 4 years since my son died.
I'm sorry?
And then the 25th will be my best friend's birthday, the one that passed away, the one that I was going to marry. Then my dad, his anniversary is coming up in a few months. And then my goddaughter passed away this month, 4 years ago too, so it's like, so yeah, it's just a little bit, October's always bad. Oh, it's November, isn't it?
November 21st, 20th?
Okay, so October. So I got TBI. I got hit in the back of my head with a hammer by my ex-husband. So my short term is bad, but I have brain seizures sometimes, and I had a few of those today. So I'm like stuck and thinking it's October. It's not. It's November. So yeah, I guess it'd be last month, and I'm wrecked today because sometimes I'm a danger to myself. So I just had to get numb because I couldn't, because I can't deal with it anymore. I just don't, and I know I don't want to die, and I know I don't want to hurt myself, so it's just like easier to just numb it for a while. But I I don't like doing that anymore either. I just want to be okay. Fuck.
Does your husband help you when you're having weak moments like this?
I don't fall apart around him like this.
I'm sorry?
I don't fall apart around him.
Oh, you don't? Why is that? Does he not handle it well?
It stresses him out really bad, and I think he might have the same condition I have. He just won't go see a therapist or anybody to figure it out, but he almost killed me and couldn't. He didn't. It's not his fault, because when your brain hijacks itself, there's nothing you can do to stop it. You don't remember what happens. But I try to keep... I didn't cry or talk about it for 2 years when my son died, because I couldn't, because I can't. Because I have to make sure that I look out for him and for me, and so... And then so much time had gone by, and so I was questioning whether anything happened or if my son was even real. And so I asked him, you can't bring him up, you can't talk to me about seeing. So I just try to hold this down and hold this together, the best I can. Because he's got enough going on. Like, in January, he got hit head on his motorcycle. They were in a 2-ton work truck. He's got plate in his head. But he's got enough going on, so I try not to stress him out or make things worse. And as if I just bottle it all deep down inside, it all explodes, and everything is just so awful. It's like, and then I start to realize, I'm gonna have to start dealing with these things to move on and move past it all. But I don't know how, because I try to, I start, and then this happens. It's like, so how am I supposed to deal with 7 years, going on 8 years worth of deaths? The average is 1 every 6 weeks. Everyone's gone. So, because he's the only person I have left, I just deal with this stuff on my own, which means it just doesn't really ever happen.